Hello, everybody out there. Hope you can hear me. Am I in? It looks like you can hear me. I want to say hi to everybody that's in here right now. Meg, we need to get your shirt size and your address. I'm gonna have Laura get with you because you are the best. You're always first one in. We appreciate you, and we're gonna take care of you. Will and Lori Green, welcome to the party. Who's this Laura from Huddle Event? Oh, I know her. We got KDP, my favorite stepdaughter. Cruise vet. Cruise vet, are you on a cruise right now, buddy? I thought you were on a cruise. Clock Family Adventures, welcome to the party. Welcome aboard. Okay, if this is your first time in, this is something new we started to add to the channel a few weeks back. It got interrupted due to us being on a cruise, so it hasn't really picked up momentum at this point. But basically, the premise is this channel is a cruise news channel. We do cruise vlogs. We do a wide range of things. But cruise news is what is our biggest thing that we do. And many times during the week, stuff happens and I don't have a chance to get after it, especially the last 2 weeks. We came back from the dream 2 weeks ago today, and we are still trying to get settled. It's so crazy. I've worked every day since we got back. My work schedule is crazy. So, and we've been spending more hours at work than we normally do. And we are, Eddie Lugo, my buddy from Brooklyn, Georgia. Is that a thing, Eddie? Brooklyn, Georgia? Okay, the room is filling up. So I'm going to just keep going. So basically, that's it. So I decided one of the issues with doing cruise news is you're trying to stay on top of it a lot. And some of these things break, and everybody is sharing cruise news now. For instance, early this week, when Carnival announced that they were dropping the COVID-19 protocols, it was everywhere. The letter that Carnival emailed out to everybody made it everywhere, which is great. So I didn't feel a need to add to that. It's just noise at that point when everyone is doing the same vlog. So I try to keep it, the big stories, of course, we're going to cover, but doing a summary at the end of each week, like a news magazine, a news show, where we can revisit it and I can give you some opinions on things. And I can also touch on stories, like when a story breaks, a couple days later, you get more information. So that's what I like about it. So with that, I'm going to start off with a couple of the Carnival brand cruise lines. We've got news from Holland America. We got news from Carnival itself. We got news from Princess. So we're going to start with Princess. The Coral Princess is sailing currently in Australia, and I'm not sure how the time works, but I believe the ship came in. It said Friday. I don't know if it was Friday, our time, Friday, their time. But long story short, there is a undisclosed number of COVID cases on board this ship, the Coral Princess, and some estimate it's over 100 people, crew, and guests on board. I believe there's 2,000 guests total on the ship. I've heard numbers as high as possibly 200 people infected with COVID. And the interesting thing about this story is Australia has been very, very slow to reopening cruising, and they've been super, super cautious. And their COVID protocols make the strictest protocols here in the States look, they don't even compare. They take it far more serious. So you kind of wonder if it's you have a lot of people sailing out of Australia now, and they are getting exposed to the virus, whereas here in the States, we've been, just covered in it. We've been buried in COVID for the last 2+ years. So I think that's why we're seeing this. Now, there was no discussion about how severe the cases are or what degree people are getting ill to. But they did say something I thought was really interesting that you didn't hear when cruise ships were overwhelmed with COVID in the States. Sorry, I'm sneaking a peek at the football game, guys. They won't let them off the ship to shore until they have a negative test. So that's kind of an interesting twist. So I don't know if Princess is just going to keep these people on board for a few days before they let them off the ship, or they will allow them to make some kind of arrangements to get them to like a local hotel or something to quarantine until they are negative. But they, what I read was they're not going to allow them to shore unless they have a negative test. So it's kind of an interesting situation, and I couldn't get any update on that. I dug all over the internet, couldn't find anything. So next up, let's get to Holland America. Holland America did the same thing Princess and Carnival did. When Princess came out and announced they were dropping their COVID protocols are for sailings 15 days or less, we reported on our channel. We also said, you watched, they're going to do it. Multiple cruise lines are going to do it. And for some reason, Carnival is choosing to do it one division at a time. So Holland joins that. Carnival owns Holland. So they eliminated the COVID testing and vaccine requirement, same as Carnival. Cruises, I believe, 15 days or less. Moving right along to Carnival. Carnival is rolling out a new, it's called an air lubrication system across their cruise brands. And I was thinking, air lubrication system, what kind of witchcraft are we talking about? What are we talking about? So basically what it is it's some kind of system that generates a layer of bubbles, air bubbles between the hull and, the ocean basically. And it reduces friction, surface water friction by 5%, which allows them to save on they're going to use less fuel. So it saves them on their fuel costs, which means they're going to, it's going to be good for the environment. So their goal is to be, completely green, carbon free by 2050. So that is what Carnival is doing. And I believe there's 4 ships that have it now, and you're going to see more of that. Me being a guy that works on equipment and stuff, it makes me wonder, is that just something else that, you're going to have to worry about breaking? So that's one thing about new technology. New technology, although this isn't new technology, it's been out for a while. I think I read 2016, but they are at a point where they feel more comfortable with it. Now, we were talking about Australia. Now we're going to shift gears. We're going to go over to Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean returned to Australia. First time in 3 years since COVID. The Ovation of the Seas will be sailing from Sydney. So that's pretty good news. As we said before, it sounds crazy, 3 years. But man, time flies, right? So this virus, it hit us hard in 2020. And here we are, actually in 2019, late 2019, but it got here in the States in early 2020. So we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of it being here in the United States. That's not one you want to celebrate. But it is awesome to look at where we're at now compared to where we were at a year ago, 2 years ago, in regards to wearing masks and being terrified to leave your own house. I remember in March of 2020, Laura and I, every time we had to go to the grocery store, it was like it was really nerve-wracking. We were worried. We didn't have proper masks. If you remember, they weren't available. They were sucking them up for all the hospitals and clinics and stuff. So a lot of people had homemade masks, and you didn't know what the virus is going to do. We were all worried. And then we mentioned on this channel multiple times, my mother lives with us, and we were worried that we we're going to give her the virus. And so it's just really nice to be to a point where you can cruise. You don't have to show your test. You don't have to do Verify. And that's another news story. They're saying you don't use Verify anymore. Carnival says it's unnecessary moving forward. Obviously, you don't have to show your vaccine card. You don't have to show a test. Now, look at this silliness. I'm going to show you guys this silliness here. I'm going to tell you guys one thing about her. She don't see so good. So, but anyways, it's just crazy to see where we're at, and then to see a country like Australia who tried to avoid dealing with the virus by keeping it completely out of their country. Now, it's hitting them, and you hate to see that, but God, we're so lucky. I feel like God gave us a break because it was bad. The Delta variant last fall was just terrible. That's when people I knew my age were dying of COVID, and it was a Delta variant. And the latest variant, Omicron, it hasn't been very serious. So that's a good thing. So, anyways, you have the herd, immunity, and it really, it's not, some experts say it's not a real thing, but it really is, in a sense that you have a lot of people vaccinated, and you have a lot of people that have been infected by it, and so it's harder to spread. That's basically why it works. It's harder to spread. That's all. And then if you already had COVID before, it's going to be less severe the second time you get it in most cases. And if you're vaccinated, your chances of getting it are less. But if you get it, your symptoms will be reduced. That's the goal of that. So it's just been crazy. And that's what we were talking about just 2 days ago, Laura and I, that it's so nice to finally don't have zero anxiety. We got on the Carnival Dream. That was our first cruise with no COVID test. Because if you remember, if you watch our channel, we went on to Magic in August, and that was to Bermuda. And Bermuda was still requiring tests. They were requiring, you had to buy a travel, I forget what they call it. It's $40 a person to go to Bermuda, and that thing is still in effect. So with that said, touching back on Royal a little bit, everybody's really super excited about Icon of the Seas. The prices for Icon of the Seas are crazy high. I don't know if any of you have booked it, but Laura and I did. And Ocean View stateroom is, I think it was $3,400. And our wonderful travel agent, Amanda from Have Luggage Will Travel, booked it for us, and she didn't put the gratuities in. So with the gratuities, it's going to be another about $250. So it's over $3,600 for a Ocean View, which, if you're unfamiliar with that, that's a room just with the window, no balcony. That price is above balcony prices on Carnival by a good amount of money. We have I forget what they call it. It's kind of an extended balcony on the Celebration. That was only a 7-day cruise, but with gratuities, and then they added insurance. We added insurance on accident on this one, guys. Feel kind of dumb. We didn't realize it until oh my God, I want to say 3 weeks ago, we were like, oh, what did we bought insurance for this? Because we have an annual insurance policy through Alliance. So that was another that's another $250. I think the whole thing was like $2,800 with gratuities and insurance and everything. And that is, I think we're on the 12th deck, and we're on, I want to say we're on starboard side midship. And on the midship on the Celebration of Mardi Gras, it kind of comes out like this on the upper decks. And the rooms in the middle, dead middle on each side, are suites. But the balcony rooms next to the suites benefit from the balconies having to flare out. So you end up with a deeper balcony than a regular balcony room. So it's pretty cool. And guess what? We're going to get to show you guys that. And 21 days from tomorrow, we will be boarding the Celebration. So we're really excited about that. And I know some of you guys in the chat are doing as well. Next up, Norwegian Prima. Okay. If you know, our good buddies, Julie and Brian, are on the Prima right now. The Prima made its Galveston debut. Why did I say Gatlinburg? I'm in the Smoky Mountains. I need to be by water in my head. The Prima made its debut there on Thursday, October 27, 2022, which is really cool. And they're doing recognizing educators and teachers, and they're having events on board. There's like 100 teachers competing for an award through Norwegian, and they started this education recognition program, I believe, back in July, And we did report that here on Huddle Adventures. So that continues. I believe they're doing the awards and whatnot on this sailing, which is really, really cool. I also heard that they are going to, the Prima is going to end up ultimately doing a 10 or 11 day cruise. It's going to end in Miami. They're going to sail out of Miami a couple times. And I believe Galveston is going to be where they're normally going to sail out of. But during its inaugural season, it's going to do a few different things, which is really cool. You just missed a Prima. Cruise Vet just missed a Prima. Let's get my wife off of that. You know what's really cool about that, guys? Now, I hate saying all the time. Now I'm saying, you see that? Jeremy from J&S Adventures, Jeremy and Cheryl live in Galveston. And Jeremy, one of the things he does, if you know, he goes down to the port, the dock area down there, and he does videos of all the ships coming and going. He catches beautiful sunrises, sunsets. He does a great job. Well, Julie and Brian got there early. They got there the night before and went down there, and they were waiting to record it coming in. And guess who they ran into? Our main man, Jeremy. He was down there, and Julie captured a real cool picture of Jeremy and Brian being professional vloggers, vlogging the arrival of the Prima. You can see the Prima in the distance, and you see Brian. He's down on his knee, getting a perfect angle, and he looks like he's half the height of Jeremy in the picture, and he's probably only 3/4 of the height of him. So he was squatted down. So we are really, it's really exciting to see that happen. In fact, we are trying to do the same thing with Celebration, guys. Celebration is going to arrive back in, not back, it's going to arrive in Miami for the first time. I believe it is on the 18th, which is Sunday the 18th. We sail on the 19th. So it's going to come in a day early. It's coming from Southampton, England. And we are hoping we can do the same thing, that we can get down there to the port and catch it coming in. I don't know if that's going to be possible or not, but we're going to try. We're going in on Saturday, and the ship's going to arrive on Sunday. So that's going to be pretty exciting as well. I'm really happy for, Brian and Julie and everyone else we know that's on the Prima. They're getting to do the same thing we're going to do, the U.S. inaugural sailing, which is really cool. So with that, there's been a lot of updates and changes with all the cruise lines. There's been a lot of price increases. There's been a lot of policy changes, and it is really hard to keep up on all that stuff. And also the airlines are still a mess, guys. I got to tell you, you need to stay on top of all of your reservations, your flight reservations. You have to stay on top of them. I've heard nightmare stories about people having their flight canceled, and they didn't even know it was canceled, because what's happening is, take American Airlines, for instance, for example. And yes, I'm picking on American Airlines, but they've deserved it. What is that he's saying? Oh, here's my buddy, J&S Adventures. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. I got sidetracked. American Airlines. We've flown with American Airlines multiple times in the last year and a half, multiple times. We used to fly always with Delta, but then, it got harder to get the timing for our flights. So we had to start branching out and using different airlines. And American Airlines is probably, at this point, we have flown, since we've been married almost 6 years, we have flown Delta and American Airlines probably an equal number of times, if I had to guess. And American Airlines, what they do is they're constantly spamming you with emails about this program and that program, and get our credit card and do this and do that. And a lot of the email programs you're going to use will start filtering stuff out like that is spam, right? So it goes into your junk folder. Well, your changes to your flights end up in all those special offers buried in your junk folder. A guy I work with, his daughter missed a flight that was going to Hawaii, because they changed her flight and she didn't see it because it went right into the junk mail. We had the same thing happen with us, but we caught it. We have this cruise coming up on a celebration with American Airlines, and then we come home on a Sunday. Then we fly back to Miami the following Saturday, and we get on Oasis of the Seas. Ovation of the Seas is in Sydney, Australia. See, I'm mixing up my facts. So when we fly back, Laura and I were I don't know what made us look at it. I have no idea why we looked at it. The other night we looked at it. We are playing logistics like crazy right now, guys, trying to get all these cruises, everything that goes with the cruise paid for, and everything, this, that, and the other thing, getting our drink packages, our Wi-Fi, making sure our hotels are paid for, all that stuff. We're juggling a lot because we have 3 cruises in the next 90 days, and we just got off one. So it's been really crazy. So we pulled up, Laura's looking at the app on her phone, and she's like, hey, did we book this flight home at 8:00 at night on a Sunday night? I'm like, no. So I pull up on my app, and it comes up at the original time, which was 1:45. We fly out of Miami. We had a layover because that's all we could get. And then we were back into the Detroit area at like 6 p.m. They changed it. They put us on a flight at 8:15 p.m. Sunday night, and we arrived back in Detroit like around 11 p.m. We're going to be stuck at the Miami airport from most likely around 10:30 in the morning all the way to 8:15 at night now. And we looked at everything. We looked at, well, what if we just fly out the following day, stay at a hotel, and it starts costing more and more money. So we said, we'll just tough it out at the airport. Now, you guys might not be aware of this, but when you fly, the earliest you can check your bags is 4 hours before your flight. So if you're at the airport 8 hours before, you can't even get past security until you're 4 hours out from your flight, so you can check your luggage. So you got to sit there with your suitcases, all your gear, and it's first world problems. I got to say, complaining about stuff like this that happens, while you're traveling the world and living the good life. It's kind of like it's hard. I don't feel sorry for myself, but it's just one of those things that when you book something, you should get some kind of remote guarantee that you're going to get what you're paying for, right? And then the other nice thing they did was they jacked up the prices on any flight you can imagine that was even slightly earlier. We'd have to pay the difference, and it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So it's just going to be easier for us to just sit there and not be flying. Eddie, it's kind of funny he said that. Miami has plenty to do, Cuban meals to enjoy. But at the airport, Miami, we've been stuck there before. We're hoping that they expanded their food choices there, where you're waiting to get past security. When we were stuck there in 2019 in a similar situation, I believe we sat out there for about 3 hours before we could check our bags and get to security and to the terminal where everything's at, where they have all the restaurant stuff. We were stuck with there was just one restaurant. It was like an Italian pizza place, something I can't hardly remember, but it was packed. Okay, yeah, and Laura is bringing up a good point here about what we're doing on the how we group cruise in June. We were pricing airfare to fly to Jersey, and it was crazy. It was like $1,200 for the two of us to fly to Jersey, which is a 9-hour car ride. It's 600 miles away, and it was going to be $1,200 for two of us to fly in coach round trip. It's just crazy. And there was layovers. There's a layover flight, and it's not that far. So we talked to Brian, and told him, hey, we're just going to drive out there, and we're just going to have to stay at a hotel near his house. He lives about an hour from the cruise port, and then we're going to caravan to the cruise port, which is crazy. So the airfare, and the thing too is there's all these airlines are announcing all these new loyalty programs they're coming up with to entice you to fly with them. And this, I'm not kidding you. They are coming out telling you, we're going to do this for you and that for you and this for you. And every time I see that type of thing pop up on my news feed on Facebook, I'm all over that. I'm like, hey, here's a program I'd like to see you guys try. How about you figure out how you can keep your flights on time, quit canceling flights, stop scheduling your layovers with not enough time to get off the plane and get on the next plane. How about that? That would be a good thing to do. Why do they expect you to be loyal to them when they can't even deliver what they are selling, right? So it's just crazy. I must have seen stuff like that, I don't know, 10 times in the last 3 weeks. Loyalty programs for all the different airlines. Trying to see if there's any more comments here. If I missed one, I seen Have Part Pit will barbecue. My good buddy Josh, the Little Debbie's King. He's in here. I've seen him somewhere. Scrolling through. Laura usually does this part, guys. There's Meg, feeling blessed to live in Atlanta because Delta. Meg, we have a huge Delta hub here in Detroit as well. It's actually Romulus. That's where the Detroit Metro Airport is. It's in Romulus. Delta has its own terminal, and Delta is huge here. And we have a lot of international flights heading out of this area. This is the highest concentration of Muslims in the world outside of the Middle East here in the Detroit Dearborn area. So there's a lot of flights, international flights for that reason. People coming and going back and forth home, and the auto industries here. This is a Motor City. So we have, people flying in from all over the country due to the auto industry. So our airport is pretty big and it's nice. If you guys have ever been to Metro Airport, I never realized how nice it was until I started doing extensive traveling and realizing, oh my goodness, some of those airports they're pretty rough. And, if you have to spend time at Metro Airport, it's not too bad. So lots of, restaurant choices, clean restrooms, plenty of room, comfortable seating, clean. The place is clean. And I got people mad at me when I talked about how bad LAX is, how dirty it is. Oh my goodness. I had people, they were mad at me. I thought maybe you had stock in the airport or something, but that was a really rough airport. If you ever been to that one, where you go through security, they have the rollers where your suitcases go through X-ray. You could see inches of dirt underneath that thing, inches of dirt, cobwebs, dust bunnies, who knows what all underneath under there, just crazy. Like it's never been cleaned under there, and it's completely. And they have you walking around, in your socks or your bare feet, and it's the dirtiest floor ever. I just was like, whoa. And I will tell you guys, a good investment if you do fly a lot is get TSA pre-check. It's real easy process. It's like $85, and it's good for 5 years. And you go right through TS Pre, where you keep your shoes on and you can keep your laptop in your bag. And they still might frisk you a little bit if you look like me, because I get frisked at every stop, every place. I get the extra treatment. I think I look like I don't know, terrorist or something. But I usually get stopped and pulled aside. I get asked questions like, "Would you like to go into a special room?" And my answer is no. No, I'm good. But anyways, yeah, it's I don't have a lot going through security. So the TSA Pre, awesome. You just zip right through, and you keep your shoes on, like you said, which is really cool. You still got to take your belt off and empty your pockets, which but that's better than coming out of there, man. I've got a belt, I've got my shoes, I'm trying to get my bag, I'm trying to get everything together, put my wallet and my phone back in my pockets, and you feel like you're on some kind of game show. You're you're trying to hurry because TSA people are staring at you, the people behind you are like breathing down your neck. Don't you love flying? My buddy Josh loves flying. I love getting on the plane. I hate the process of getting on the plane, getting through security. Once you're through security, I'm good. I relax and I'm good to go. So with that said, TSA Pre, a really good investment. And there's always people that talk about the passports when you're traveling. It's also a really good thing to get your passport. And 99% of the cruises you're going to take here in the United States, going, all the typical spots, the Caribbean, Alaska, Bermuda, Western, the Mexican Riviera. You don't need a passport to go on those because you're leaving the U.S., you're going to foreign ports, and then you're coming right back to the U.S. So it's not required. You don't have to have that, but it's good to have it because then you can do the facial recognition, which is becoming very, very common, and it's very quick. So when you're going now we're cruising, we don't have to worry about having the vaccination card stuff. You just go out there and just put your, ugly mug, in my case, in front of that little camera, and boom, and you go right through. Even with my hat on, it recognizes, who I am, which is really cool. Even when I got my beard all buff, sticking out like it was on the last cruise, and I'm like 10 pounds, 20 pounds heavier, it still recognizes me, which is pretty cool. You're silly. I'm not the best looking husband west of the Mississippi. You are, or east of Mississippi? Yeah. No. Okay, here we go. Cruise Vet says, I'm glad I showed up at the Vancouver airport the day they dropped all the COVID precautions, made things go much easier. Oh, yeah. Amen, brother. We're glad to see that happen in Canada as well. We have a lot of, there's a lot of Canadian cruise, fanatics, and, they had to wait extra long and jump through extra hoops for a long time. And so it's good it's open back up. And that's what I was saying at the opening, guys. It feels so good to be on the good end of this COVID stuff and, put it behind us. And hopefully we've learned as a nation, the CDC, our government has learned how to be better prepared, how to better handle these type of situations, because it's the first time it's really happened to us. It's happened in Asian countries, not to this extent, obviously, but they've had their, dealings with viruses that spread very quickly and kill lots of people. So, like I said, next time it comes around, we're gonna know the drill. Because when that first hit, I where I work, I had the option. I'm a union employee. I had the option of taking a volunteer layoff for 2 months. It's actually 2 weeks at a time. It ended up being 2 months, or I could continue working. And I would only work 40 hours a week. So normally I work 76 hours a week. And as you can imagine, that's almost 2.5 times my income by doing that. I increase it by that much. So working 40 hours a week, it's more than unemployment because we get this thing called subpay, but it's not that much more. So I said, all right, I'm going to stay home and see what happens with this, because it was hitting Michigan really hard at that time. We were third in the country in cases and deaths in March of 2020. Because again, remember I mentioned that international travel, everybody flying in here with the auto industry, everybody flying to China because all the parts are being made to China and flying back. And, here you go, you get the virus, you get the virus, you get the virus, Oprah. So anyways, it hit us really, really hard initially. It was really, really bad. And so everybody was kind of in a panic. And I didn't want to get my mom sick, so I volunteered to stay home. And I have been working since I've been 11 years old. So for me being home for 8 straight weeks, it drove me crazy. I didn't know what to do with myself. And, everything's closed. You can't go nowhere. Going and getting, groceries. We ended up using like Instacart and ordering everything delivered. And we're still doing that to this day. And not because of COVID, just because it's so convenient when you work all the time. So with that said, guys, we're going to have our normal weekly live stream on Tuesday. We are back to having special guests on board. This week, we're excited. We're going to have JNS Adventures on board and see what they're up to. Cheryl and Jeremy are really busy, working on their channel, working on their social media accounts, their social media presence. They love doing it, and they're a lot of fun. We had the privilege of spending some time with them last January, and I'm not going to steal the thunder because that's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we met on last January. And it's a pretty interesting story. It's pretty cool. and they've been with us since the very beginning. Our channel started around the same time. We were following each other around the same time, and so it was really cool to get to meet them. And they will be a lot of fun here on Tuesday. And if any of you guys out there are interested in being on our Tuesday live stream, where we bring you on board and interview you and find out what you're up to, and just have fun with everybody, let us know. Just reach out to us, let us know. We have several people that have asked us to be on, but we want to, if you want on, we want to bring you on. So we want to find a way to get everyone that wants to be on. We want to have them on. It's fun for us, and it's good for everybody else, because they get to learn more about you. And Laura does a great job with the questions. She has it very structured, and she will, depending on how comfortable you guys are, she'll send you questions ahead of time, so you know what you're going to be asked. So you're not nervous or unprepared. We're not going to ask you like, "What'd you do with the body? I need to know. Tell me, did you kill her?" No, we're not going to put you on the spot like a police interrogation. But it's always fun. Some people we don't tell. They say, "Oh, we don't need to know what you're going to ask us." Like EECC, they had no idea what we were going to ask them. They had no idea. And we were laughing because they were putting a lot of faith in us that we're not going to ask anything stupid. But we've done that with with some channels. We know that people are more structured and they're really careful about what they do, so we don't want to catch them off guard. So if you are like that, let us know. And thank you for watching, guys. I know this is I keep looking up. It's Football Sunday. I'm watching the Rams beating the 49ers right now. 49ers took the lead, 17-14, and they're getting ready to score again. Sad day. But again, Cruise Vet, glad to see you. Clock Family, glad to see you. Eddie, glad to see you. Meg, as always, you are the best moderator in the world. Have Pit with Barbecue. Make sure I didn't miss anybody, because that's Laura's job. JNS is here, been here. So with that said, I will talk to you guys Tuesday, and I will look better because I have Laura with me, and she makes me look better, and she watches me close. She's my boss. Talk to you guys later. Bye.